In the small town of Ashford, nestled among cobblestone streets and old houses, there is a place everyone who has lived there long enough knows: Miller's Pond. By day, the pond seems serene. The surface lies still as glass, reflecting the slender willows along the shore. Ducks drift lazily across the water, children chatter and play, their laughter mingling with the gentle breeze. To visitors, the pond is nothing more than a peaceful painting, a spot where worries seem to fade away. But the people of Ashford know better. Miller's Pond is not as simple as it looks. When night falls, especially on foggy evenings, the place takes on a completely different face. No longer tranquil, it becomes cloaked in an eerie atmosphere that makes anyone wary. In that hazy moment, a strange phenomenon often appears, a faint glow drifting across the water. They call it the light of Miller's Pond. To those who only hear about it, it may sound like nothing more than a trick of reflection or a playful trick of nature. But to those who have seen it, they believe it is no accident. That glow belongs to a presence still lingering here, an invisible guardian, silently watching every step around the pond. Miller's Pond is not merely a quiet patch of water at the edge of Ashford. For generations, it has been a gathering place for the community. On weekend mornings, families spread picnic blankets beneath the willows, laughter echoing across the water. Children run and play, daring each other to skip stones and create rippling circles. Elderly fishermen sit patiently at the banks, lines dangling into the water as they wait for a catch. At first glance, all of it seems ordinary, as calm as any other pond. Yet the people of Ashford believe that beneath this simplicity lies something unexplainable. Whether in sunlight or fog, the pond seems to carry its own breath, silent, solemn, as though keeping a secret never told. The elders often remind the children that Miller's Pond has witnessed both joy and tragedy in the town. Over time, those memories seem to have seeped into every drop of water, every blade of grass by its banks. To them, the pond is not merely a place of leisure, but a living witness, silently keeping watch and preserving every story. There are nights when the wind falls still and the fog thickens, and the pond becomes a giant mirror, reflecting not only the present, but echoes of the distant past. They say, if you are quiet enough, you may hear whispers in the breeze. A reminder that beneath its beauty, Miller's Pond hides a story never forgotten. More than a century ago, when Ashford was still a small community, there was a young woman named Clara. She was remembered for her gentle smile and bright eyes that seemed to hold an entire spring sky. Clara was not wealthy, nor of noble lineage, yet she was loved for her kindness and generous heart. Whenever free, she came to Miller's Pond, sometimes reading under the willows, sometimes helping children swim, or working alongside wives and mothers washing clothes by the shore. To Clara, the pond was more than a place. It was a part of her youth. But the familiar pond would also bear witness to tragedy. One sweltering summer evening, as the sun sank behind the trees, a sharp cry pierced the air. A child had slipped, falling into the deep water. Panic swept over those nearby, but before anyone could act, Clara leapt in. She swam quickly, reaching out desperately for the child. Witnesses said her face glowed with fierce determination. There was no fear, only one conviction: she must save the young life before her. At last, through her effort, the child was dragged safely to shore, trembling but alive. But when they turned back for Clara, she was gone. The pond lay still, as though nothing had happened. People dove in, used poles, even rowed boats out to the center. But in vain. Clara never returned. The next day, grief hung over the town. They built an altar by the pond, laying white flowers and lighting candles to both bid farewell and show gratitude. For in her sacrifice, a child's life was spared. From that day on, Clara's story became more than tragedy. It became a testament to unconditional love. The townsfolk whispered that the waters had claimed her so that she might forever remain part of the place. From that fateful night, Miller's Pond was never the same. People of Ashford spoke of a gentle glow appearing over the water when the fog rolled in. At first, it was dismissed as moonlight through mist, or a lantern's reflection. But strange events happened too often, and belief grew. This was Clara's presence, lingering still. Some say on foggy nights, a slender figure can be seen gliding over the water. Not walking, not stirring ripples, just a translucent shape floating in the mist. Some claim to have seen Clara in her flowing white dress, her eyes kind, her gaze protective, guarding those who strayed too close. Children, daring one another, would creep toward the shore, yet always they felt an invisible force tugging them back, gentle but firm. Some even swore they felt a cold hand resting on their shoulder, steering them away from danger. They did not scream nor cry in fear, only stared wide-eyed in awe at the unseen guide. Fishermen had their own encounters. On cloudy evenings, as they cast their lines, they sometimes heard a faint voice in the fog. "Go home, the storm is coming." Skeptical at first, they obeyed. Minutes later, storms broke, waves crashing across the pond. These stories deepened faith in Clara. To the townsfolk, the light at Miller's Pond was not an omen, but comfort. Clara was no lost spirit. She was a guardian, watching still. The legend says that if, on a foggy night, you stand still and listen with an open heart, you may hear footsteps across the water. Not meant to frighten, but to remind. This pond once took a life, but has since offered eternal protection. As years passed, Clara's tale became woven into life at Ashford. Unlike dark ghost stories meant to frighten, Clara's presence brought no fear. Instead, people cherished her as their guardian spirit. The elders would say, "Clara never left, for she still has a promise to keep, to protect young lives, just as she did that summer evening." Her sacrifice turned her into a symbol of pure love. Each time the glow drifted across the pond, villagers whispered her name, not in terror, but in reverence. Families believed Clara watched over their children. Many who nearly slipped into the waters were saved, as though unseen hands held them back. Mothers wept in gratitude, embracing their little ones, silently thanking Clara as though she were a sister, a second mother. Even the fishermen, who toiled by the waters at night, felt her near. Some nights they heard soft steps across the pond, or glimpsed her faint figure in the mist. They did not flee. They nodded, smiling faintly, as if greeting an old friend. Clara was no longer the ghost of Miller's Pond, but part of the town's soul. Visitors came, drawn by the legend, cameras ready to capture the glow. Some did, some did not. Yet all left with a peculiar feeling, as if they had brushed against another world where the line between the living and the dead blurred. The people of Ashford call her affectionately the guardian of Miller's Pond. To them, Clara is not a spirit to fear, but a quiet protector. Her sacrifice transcended time, turning tragedy into an eternal story of love, courage, and watchfulness. And so, whenever fog drapes the town and a faint light drifts across the water, all know Clara is still there, watching, guarding, protecting those who wander too near, ensuring no one suffers the fate she once did. If one day you find yourself in Ashford, and the night is heavy with fog, step quietly toward Miller's Pond. At first, you'll see only still water, the drooping willows, the dim reflection of the moon. But if you wait, you may notice something else, a delicate light drifting across the surface. It is neither harsh nor frightening, but soft and warm, as if soothing your fears. They say, when you see it, do not run. Stand still, listen, feel. Perhaps you'll notice the wind brushing your shoulder or a distant whisper calling. Some even claim in that fleeting moment they felt an overwhelming calm, a presence both tender and protective. For as the people of Ashford believe, the light at Miller's Pond is Clara, the young woman who gave her life to save another, and who has remained ever since as the pond's guardian. Her story is not merely a legend for stormy nights, but a reminder that love and kindness can outlive death itself. So if ever you see that glow, do not fear. Take it as a greeting, a sign that Clara is still there, watching quietly, protecting gently, forever bound to the pond she once called home.